What's going on, everybody? Barrett here with Spec of Tech. Welcome to the channel. In today's video, I have another great subwoofer comparison for you. I'm going to be comparing the Tonewinner D4000 12-inch subwoofer versus the SVS PB3000 13.5-inch subwoofer. And in the interest of saving your time, let's get right into this video. So first of all, these subwoofers are very similar. Instead of me sitting here listing off a bunch of specs, which you guys can easily look up on Google yourselves and compare them, I'm just going to tell you that they are quite similar in driver size, they're quite similar in power. There is some slight differences, but again, similar. Both of these subwoofers have Bluetooth built in, and both of them offer a free app which allows you to change things like gain and phase from the comfort of your own chair. So again, these subwoofers are very similar in pretty much all aspects. One of the main differences that I do want to point out is the price. The D4000 is significantly less money than the SVS PB3000, as you can see here. If you are planning on using an XLR cable, the PB3000 does not have an XLR connection, but the D4000 does. So if you are planning on using XLR, you pretty much would have to go with the D4000 if these are the two subwoofers that you're looking at. And for your peace of mind, both of them do have a great warranty, and both of them do have an in-home trial. So again, if you guys do want detailed specs for you to compare, I have dropped links down for both of these subwoofers in the description below. So let's get right into comparing the output numbers of these two subwoofers. So just for the record, I did have both of these subwoofers in the front right-hand corner of my room when I did these measurements, and I had the microphone placed at my main listening position. And in addition to that, I wasn't using any room calibration for either of these measurements. So let's hop over to my computer and compare the output numbers of these two subwoofers. All right, guys, so here we are on my computer, and I already have the room measurements pulled up. So the subwoofers were in the same place and the mic was in the same place for these measurements. And then we did compression testing. For those of you that don't know, compression testing is just when you run a sweep and then you increase your volume by a set amount. I always choose 3 dB. So you should be seeing a 3 dB increase across the board with these measurements. And if you're not getting that 3 dB increase, if it's getting less, then that's when you're starting to hit compression. The driver is compressing basically because it's reached its limit. It's at those specific frequencies anyway. There it is often that some of the frequencies you can keep going, but it's going to compress usually in the low end, and the high frequencies keep going. But once you've hit compression, that's kind of where you stop, and that's what compression testing is. All right, so I did take these measurements in normal mode. So we'll start with the D4000 here. So that's 65 volume, 68, 71, 74, 77, and 80. Other than like down here, guys, you are seeing some funny things happen on the very low end, like starting at like 12 hertz. It's not really compressing though in the usable output range. Like it's already kind of falling off there. When it comes to these frequencies here, you can see that it's still quite parallel. So you're not compressing yet. But I would say that this blue line, this top blue line, is hitting a little bit of compression. Did I label that? Let's have a look. Yeah, so I did label that it's hitting some compression there. All right, so let's use the green line as our max. So we'll get rid of this blue line and all these other ones. So our max for the D4000 will be this green line at volume 77. I also want to point out that I was using 2 different processors for these measurements. That's not going to affect the compression testing at all. There's going to be pretty much zero effect there, but it just results with different numbers being shown as volume, but I still stepped it up 3 dB each time. So you are going to see a 3 dB increase each time. All right, so for the PB3000, here we are. So 33, 30, 27, 24, and I believe at 24 I was starting to compress. Let's see if I labeled that. Yeah, so it's hitting some compression. So this purple line will not be the one we use. We'll use the one before that, which was kind of this teal line here. So there you have it. This is the D4000 with the PB3000 in normal mode. Something that seems to be pretty special about these Tonewinner subwoofers is they have some really great output in the higher frequencies. And here you can see that the PB3000 did have a little bit more output from about 19.5 hertz down to about 15 hertz. So the D4000 did roll off a little bit here. That, again, is going to have a little bit to do with my room, but the PB3000 does have more output here. So we're at 99 dB at 17.36 and 95. So you have 4 more decibels in this at the peak of this range, I would say. Well, maybe right here is the peak. We'll see. So 94.5 and 99. So 5 more dB in this little range right here. But other than that, the D4000 being significantly less money is outperforming the PB3000 when it comes to output. And as you can see again, guys, these Tonewinner subwoofers are just really killing it when it comes to their output. They're just outperforming the competition by a significant amount in most of the frequency range. Not all of the frequency range necessarily, but the D6000 did outperform the PB3000 in pretty much the entire range because it has slightly better performance than this D4000. But if you're looking for something with a fairly small footprint that just has a ton of output, this D4000 is a fantastic subwoofer to look at, especially if you're looking in the budget segment of subwoofers. These Tonewinner subwoofers currently are on the top of my list when it comes to budget subwoofers, just because they're offering great value when it comes to their output per dollar spent. All right, and I did say that I would show you guys quickly the Paradigm X15 as well. That's just kind of an added bonus to this video because I don't think I'm going to have time to make a dedicated video about the Paradigm X15 versus the subwoofer. So we will have a look at their measurements here. With the X15, I believe I was hitting compression at 21. Yeah, so 21. So 24 is going to be our max. Let's remove that one, this one, and this one. All right, so there you have it in normal mode. The X15 does actually have more, starting at 18.87 hertz. It rolls off a little bit less here. You are going to kind of feel that in your room, but you're not going to hear that. Most people don't hear much after 20 hertz, but this will cause some extra shaking in your room with the X15. 15 hertz, you're at 93 on the D4000 and 96. So a 3 dB increase, which would take either double the power or double the cone area to accomplish at those frequencies. But 18 hertz and above, there's no question that the D4000 is outperforming the X15 significantly. So at 20 hertz, we are at about 102.2. Yeah, 102.2. And then at 20 hertz on the X15, we're at 96.9. So that's, again, significant. You're going to feel that. You're going to hear that in your room. 20 hertz, you can start to hear. So all this range here is going to be the bass that you can hear. I do feel like, for some reason, the X15 and even the PB3000 was reacting a little bit different in my room when it came to these higher frequencies. Again, they were placed in the same position, but for some reason, I would say that this is reacting a little bit differently because the X15 is known to have a nice punchy output in the mid-range bass frequencies, or what some people consider the mid-range bass frequencies. The X15 and the PB3000 just really seem to roll off a little bit more in the higher frequencies. Might have something to do with their DSP, I don't know. But either way, even if you flatten that line out, the D4000 is outperforming them. So pretty much across the board, until you hit 18 hertz, you're outperforming the X15. And almost across the board, except for a small frequency range, you are outperforming the PB3000 with a subwoofer that is significantly less money. So were you guys as surprised with the D4000 output numbers as I was? I was actually pretty shocked to see that this D4000 pretty much outperformed the PB3000 across the frequency range, except for in one little spot. To be honest, I was actually expecting the PB3000 to have more output than the D4000. Surprisingly, that wasn't the case. I did know that the D4000 had some pretty substantial output, but I didn't know it was this good. Now, obviously, output doesn't tell the whole story about a subwoofer, but the problem is that it's been quite some time since I've heard the PB3000 in my room. So if I did any comparisons on sound, it would be based on memory, and that's not entirely fair. The reason being is that our audio memory is actually quite short, and it isn't very accurate over long periods of time. So in all fairness, I don't want to say too much on the sound comparison aspect, simply because it has been so long since I've heard the PB3000. It wouldn't be entirely fair, and it wouldn't be entirely accurate. I do try to give you guys the best information that I can give you, and I don't want to tarnish that reputation by comparing something that it's been such a long time since I've heard it. But what I can tell you is this: I don't remember there being any differences in the sound quality of the PB3000 versus the D4000. Nothing really stood out to me screaming, oh, this one's more nuanced, or this one has, a more powerful low end, or this one has better punch. They both are similar based on my memory anyway. And when it comes to their sound quality, it's just the D4000 is offering pretty substantial output for less money. Now, I wish that I could be a little bit more help when it comes to the sound quality of these two subwoofers, but like I said, based off of memory, I don't think that there's much of a difference between the sound quality on these subwoofers. They both performed very well. It's just that the D4000 is significantly less money than the PB3000. If you guys are enjoying these subwoofer videos and comparisons, you might as well subscribe, tick the bell icon if you do, and please take just one short second to hit that like button. I always do appreciate it. If you are looking at purchasing either of these subwoofers, please do consider using my links down in the description below. They are affiliate links, so they do offer me a small commission, which does help keep the channel going if you guys decide to buy something through one of those links. Remember to enjoy your systems. I'll see you on the next one. Cheers.